days. So I'm thinking overnight tomorrow and into Tuesday, showers, storms, maybe some remnants. And then we've got this cold front that drops in from the northwest later on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Libby, those numbers are going up even farther. So we're at 85 degrees on Tuesday. Dew points in the 60s. It is going to feel like summer here. That cold front will have a prime environment to initiate some showers and storms. We'll see how that activity kind of plays out. If it arrives at the correct time of day, late afternoon, early evening, we could have a couple stronger storms mixed in with that. So we're talking hail, gusty winds, and then more widespread rain on Wednesday. I think that's looking more like a washout day, 76. And then things will improve later in the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, looking like we'll have some good weather for the Juneteenth celebrations here in Milwaukee. TMJ4 is a really big part of that. We'll be broadcasting the parade. So as of right now, 77, partly cloudy. Might have a pop-up in the afternoon, but looking fairly dry as of now.
And that Summerfest opens on Thursday as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got so much happening in the city here as we enter into officially summer, summer solstice on June 20th. So Friday, first full day of summer. It will at least trend a little bit drier, but we're still going to keep up that heat into next weekend. Maybe.
So is the 20th, is that the longest day of the year? Is that the 21st?
It is. So yes, the longest day of the year on the summer solstice, June 20th. From then, I mean, we barely will notice. I mean, we're shaving fractions of a second between the 20th, 21st. But technically, yes, longest day of the year. And then from then on out, we start losing that daylight ever so slowly.
Stop.
I know.
It took us so long to get here. Well, thanks for the great Father's Day weather. And we're looking forward, of course, as you said, Thursday, Juneteenth celebration, Summerfest opening, and it looks like we're going to have great weather for that as well. TMJ4 meteorologist Brenda Johnson, we know you're always on top of it.
Yeah, thanks. No problem.
And happy Father's Day.
You too.
It's 8:11, 62 degrees at WTMJ. And as I said before, there is a lot of news this morning. We're going to try to share as much of it with you live that we can. The big news yesterday from Minnesota with the assassination of their former House Leader, Melissa Hortman, as well as her husband in their home in the middle of the night. Plus, there was the shooting of Representative John Hoffman and his wife. So we're going to be talking at 8:35 with Minnesota Public Radio host Kathy Wurzer. And she's got some information on that. And then also later on this morning, we'll be joined by longtime political reporter from Minnesota, Eric Escola, with what he knows and more background on that. And also, we're hearing this morning that there is a connection to Wisconsin, that in that manifesto written by suspected shooter Vance Bolter, there are 11 Wisconsin lawmakers who were named. And they were all Democrats from what we can understand, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that. Also, as Nazir was telling you, we had a lot going on here in Wisconsin yesterday with those No Kings protests, but there also was a big parade in Washington, D.C. to honor the military on the Army's 250th birthday. And we're going to be joined a little bit later on this morning by a West Point grad. He's a retired Army colonel, and he has when you hear his family background with the Army, I don't know anybody who is more Army than he is, and we're going to get his reaction to the parade and if he thinks that was significant that took place. Also, Timothy Gibbons from the Milwaukee Business Journal joins us. He has news about a new concept destination coming to the old Boston store site at Brookfield Mall. Sandy Max is with us with What's on Tap Sunday, and she looks back at Brian Wilson's musical legacy and all of his shows in Milwaukee. Also, Sandy's taking care of that Summerfest sound check at 11 o'clock this morning. And during What's on Tap with us, she looks back at Brian Wilson's musical legacy and his shows in Milwaukee. And we're also, because a lot of them were at Summerfest, we're also going to be giving away a pack of 4 tickets to Summerfest to a lucky caller on our Siding Unlimited talk and text line. So we've got Isaac here. He's pushing those buttons. Nazir is in the newsroom. And in just 2 minutes, it's Marquardt and Sports right here on WTMJ. 62 degrees at 8:14, and it looks like a beautiful Father's Day.
When you come to our showroom, you'll find more than a dozen glass shower door displays. Now that's what you're going to want to see, because browsing a bunch of options usually spurs ideas that you've never even thought of. And when you walk around with one of our glass shower door experts, you can ask questions and get assurance. We're here to help. And after nearly 50 years in the glass shower door business, there's not a whole lot we haven't seen. So don't worry, your project's about to be put in the very best of hands. At Les's Glass Service, you can count on our experience that makes it easy to promise top-flight installation. Glass shower doors are our specialty, and we're out there humping it every day to add to our portfolio to make the next project even better than the last. This is Stacy Sinks. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
When you need commercial or residential plumbing service, you need it now. Call Quality. We have over a 60-year track record of taking care of people. And with over 60 vehicles ready to respond to your needs, we'll be there in a hurry, so you won't have to worry. This is Anthony Zaneski. For commercial or residential plumbing service, call Quality and get the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. At Quality, we offer the most respected brand names in heating and air conditioning. Armstrong and Carrier. It doesn't get any better. And our technicians are top-notch. I know, because I handpicked every one of them. They're vetted and thoroughly trained. Hey, they're the cream of the crop. And that's why our quality workmanship guarantee is the strongest in the business.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. A battle of the brothers in Milwaukee did not end well for the Brewers yesterday as they lost to the Cardinals 5-8. Jackson Chourio stole home in the fourth. Sal Frelick hit a 2 RBI double, but the real story came from 2 home runs in the ninth. One from Wilson Contreras to bring the Cardinals up 4-8, and one in the bottom half from his brother, William.
Pitch and a fly ball to deep left. This one is gone if it is fair. It is a fair ball and gone. It's 8-5.
The Brewers and Cardinals meet one more time this afternoon. First pitch is at 1:10, and our coverage starts at noon with Brewers warm-up with Dominic Cotroneo. I'm Mark Ort for WTMJ Sports.
Thank you so much, Mark Hart. We'll be looking forward to that one this afternoon. It's 8:17, 62 degrees. It's going to be a beautiful Father's Day. And coming up in just a couple minutes, we've got Timothy Gibbons from the Milwaukee Business Journal. What's going into that space where there's all those piles of dirt and I don't know what over on the corner of Moreland and Bluemount where the Boston store once stood? Well, he's going to tell you, and it's a surprise. One of the things that's coming to there. It is all I had on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Summerfest is almost here.
Hey, the music.
Benson Boone.
The food.
Saz's sampler platter.
All the things that make Summerfest great, and we're going to send you.
To all 9 days.
Hey, it's Summerfest on us.
Keep it tuned to WTMJ for your chance to win tickets to every single day of Summerfest.
We'll have your opportunity on our show, Wisconsin's Midday News, to go to Summerfest on us.
Happy Summerfest from all of us right here at WTMJ.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often, because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved. But here, you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Flooring, carpeting, bath, or kitchen remodeling. Adair is the name Milwaukee has trusted for 65 years. This is Rob Adair. Ready to remodel? Give us a call, 761-3660. Get personal care from Adair, South 27th in Franklin.
On this Father's Day, let's turn to one of our favorite dads. It's Timothy Gibbons, editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal. And Tim, you broke a story on Friday about a bunch of jobs coming to Franklin.
Yeah, this is a big deal for the company. So the company's been there for about 25 years or so. It's a Japanese manufacturer that has a plant in Oak Creek. What they plan to do is invest $180 million and create about 700 jobs in Franklin.
How are they doing that? What sort of jobs are these going to be?
So it's going to be a range of things. The new campus is going to include a headquarters, a lab building, manufacturing, training and packaging facilities, and then the production facility for robotics and semiconductors. We're talking about 800,000 square feet in total. So it's going to be a range of people. It's basically driven by a product line that has industrial robotics, which have for years, but particularly in recent years, have been just a surging part of the manufacturing industry.
How soon will they be operational and hiring?
That's a very good question. So it's in the works right now. They're talking about having the actual consolidation take place over the next 8 to 10 years. So they're going to build out the facility first and then start kind of moving things in there. So all of this won't happen immediately, but it will start pretty soon. They're going to be helped along in this venture by state enterprise zone tax credits. So the state's kicking in about $18 million in tax credits based on how many jobs they create. So they're not just getting the money, but as they expand their operation, the state will be helping out.
Well, that is great news for Franklin. And let's turn to Brookfield Square Mall and find out what they're doing on the north end, because you've got an announcement about that as well.
Yeah, that's a story that we actually broke earlier in the week. It's a really big deal. The developer who is turning the Boston store site into an active site again, we broke the news that they'll be bringing a public market to that space. So the news has been out there that they're doing some retail and medical office space, but this public market is something people in Brookfield are really excited about. The idea is that it would bring in some smaller vendors. This would be an opportunity for those small local entrepreneurs to have a presence there as well.
Does that have any connection to the Third Ward Milwaukee public market?
No, other than the fact that they're kind of in competition. So one of the things the people in Brookfield kind of mentioned is they look at people from that part of the area driving downtown to the public market in downtown Milwaukee, and they want to have those people stay there in Brookfield, or maybe have people from Milwaukee drive out to Brookfield. It's going to be an interesting way of being destination retail, where the hope is that they attract people to that area. One thing that will be different in Brookfield compared to the other public markets, there's one in Mequon, there's obviously the one downtown. This, once it's built out, it will be sold to Visit Brookfield. So it will be run by a nonprofit who obviously wants to make money at it, because that's why you run any business, but their focus is more on growing the area, getting that foot traffic, getting people there. So a little bit of a different approach.
It's certainly a nice addition to that space along Blue Mound in Brookfield. All right, let's go to Port Washington, and you've got news about a Denver firm that's in their early planning stage to come to that data center.
Yeah, it feels like we've been talking about data centers a lot in recent weeks, because it's a huge growing industry. Obviously, the Microsoft one is the one that most listeners are most familiar with, but we've talked before about this site in Port Washington, where a company called Cloverleaf Infrastructure has assembled about 1,900 acres of land that could be used for data centers. So what Cloverleaf does is it gets the property together, and then it finds data center operators, and it's found its first one. So it's a company called Vantage Data Center that will build that facility, and then it will contract with the companies who actually use it as a data center. The exciting thing is, I mentioned the 1,900 acres. There's room for more there. Something like 4 or 5 more of these hyperscale data centers could set up there. So this is just the first. And it's in the early stages, but as the project becomes a reality, it's a sign of how well that site could work for this use.
We're talking with Timothy Gibbons. He is the editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal on our Citing Unlimited talk and text line. Let's go to Oak Creek, Tim, and find out about Durst. Apparently they're relocating there?
They're relocating and consolidating. So they are a events business. Marketing company is one way of describing them. They're a manufacturer. They do a lot of these trade shows and things where you have these companies getting the word out. They do the work that lets them do that. So they're relocating their headquarters from Milwaukee to Oak Creek's Oakview Business Park. They'll be building a new facility on land that the city owns. As they do that, they're bringing together the headquarters that they had in Milwaukee, as well as a production facility they had in Illinois, to come together into this park.
you've got another story about Milwaukee Forge. They've been in receivership, and this might be good news for the employees there?
Yeah, so it's never a good thing when a company is in receivership, but Milwaukee Forge has really tried to manage through this process. So they filed for receivership about 3 months ago, and the news that we had this week is they're set up to go to auction. Obviously that can be a little bit worrisome if you work there, but the potential good news is that there might be a buyer who wants to keep it going as a business. So they're not just buying the equipment or the facilities, but they're actually going to keep Milwaukee Forge, which has been around for a good long time. They'll be keeping it operating. So that's good news for the 80 employees there and good news for the manufacturing economy in the area to have this old school company have the potential of continuing as a going concern.
And finally, Tim, you've got an exclusive with your photographer who's had some behind the scenes experience on the Hone Bridge. Tell us about what you're having him do.
Yeah, this is fun. So the Hone Bridge, which for a couple years has had the west side lit up with LED lights, now, as of this week, has the east side also lit up. So they went out and installed thousands of light bulbs in this $4.3 million project that has the entire bridge lit up. So it's going to be cool. It's going to make it a flashier thing, a thing that can be seen from the lake and can be used during special events to be an addition to the skyline. So what's cool for us is our photographer, Kenny Yu, spent the past several months as they were working on this, going up on the lift. And I got to say, Kenny is not the most fun person with heights. So, he was committed to the job. He went up and he kind of documented how they were doing this cool project. So if you want to see some behind the scene photos of that Hone Bridge lighting, stop by our website. They're pretty cool.
I think a lot of people, though, are wondering, why light up the east side? Nobody's going to see it unless they're out on the lake.
Right, but remember, the cruise industry here is growing. Great Lakes cruising is a thing that the port, the city, the industry overall is focused on. I think one of the reasons is as you think of people on the lake, kind of seeing this addition to the skyline will just be a cool and welcoming sort of thing. Plus, just overall, it makes the bridge complete. It's kind of weird to have just one side lit when it's a bridge. It has two sides.
And how far out will they be able to see that? Any idea?
I do have to get an answer on that, but I do know people have talked about sending a bill to other states because they're going to get the benefit from seeing it across the water. So I doubt that will work as a fundraising mechanism, but who knows? Maybe, Indiana should be ponying up or something.
Well, Tim, it is Father's Day, and I know you're a dad. Are you doing anything special?
So our son is still in college in Florida. He's finishing up his senior year, so probably just a phone call, but we could check in with him again, and greatly enjoyed being a father and always love celebrating Father's Day.
Well, happy Father's Day to you. Tim Gibbons, editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal. Always great to have you here.
Awesome. You have a great weekend, too.
And it is going to be a beautiful Father's Day. It's going to be partly to mostly cloudy, but temperatures quite mild. 72 for a high if you're close to the lake, 80 further inland. There might be a chance of a shower later on this evening. We'll get down to about 58 degrees. And tomorrow, partly cloudy. Late in the day, we've got a chance for some rain with a high of 80, 85 inland. Then on Tuesday, a chance of showers, storms, very warm and humid, 85. We cool off a bit on Wednesday with some more rain and storms and a high of 76. Right now in Oconomowoc, it's 63 degrees. Cedarburg has 61, 63 in Oak Creek, and it's 62 degrees at WTMJ at 8:28.
Erica, it's good to see you.
How are things at our amazing Germantown location?
Absolutely fantastic.
We heard you had a bold idea. What is it?
We're celebrating our 45th year in business, so I think we should give away some natural diamonds.
Wow, that is a bold idea. How many and how big?
3/4 carat. 9 natural diamonds, each one clarity enhanced for maximum brilliance. 1 diamond for each store.
How should we mount them, Erica?
We'll give them away as diamond pendants.
So each of the 9 Kessler stores will have their own diamond pendant to give away?
Yeah, and all a person will have to do is to walk into a store and register to win.
Can a person travel to all 9 stores and register at each one?
Yeah, why not? And people will have from now until July 28th to register.
I'm in.
Me too.
It's unanimous, and people should bring in all their old jewelry so that we can professionally clean it for them for free.
That makes so much difference.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. with new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Well, coming up after the news, we've got our interview with Kathy Wurzer from Minnesota Public Radio with a little more background on the legislator that was shot and killed yesterday morning in Minnesota. But right now it's 8:30. And for the WTMJ Breaking News Center, we've got Nazir Spencer. And speaking of shootings, there was a fatality last night.
Yes, thanks, Libby. A 25-year-old man is dead after a shooting late Saturday night on Milwaukee's north side. Police say it happened around 11:10 p.m. near North 35th and Capitol Drive. The victim died at the scene. The suspects remain unknown and the investigation is ongoing. The manhunt continues for a suspect accused of posing as a police officer and fatally shooting a Democratic state lawmaker in Minnesota. Authorities say 57-year-old Vance Belter killed former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and wounded Senator John Hoffman and his wife in a separate shooting. The FBI is now offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Belter's arrest and conviction. Governor Tim Walz is calling it a politically motivated assassination. Around 200 U.S. Marines have moved into Los Angeles to guard a federal building and personnel following a week of protests over federal immigration raids. This comes as cities across the country brace for a new wave of large-scale demonstrations against President Trump's immigration policies. Some recent protests have led to clashes with police and hundreds of arrests. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. No major delays, no major issues, and full freeway speeds across the system.
Traffic is brought to you by the Golden Mast Inn. Visit them at goldenmastin.com. The Golden Mast is now offering relaxing rides on Akachi Lake aboard their brand new Bay Runner pontoon patio. Enjoy 2-hour cocktail cruises on Thursdays and Sundays. Get tickets at goldenmastin.com.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, partly to mostly cloudy, isolated showers, possibly far west, high of 72 near the lake and 80 inland. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy with a low of 58. Monday, partly cloudy with a slight chance of afternoon rain and storms with a high of 80 near the lake and 85 inland. Tuesday, chance of showers and storms, warm and humid with a high of 85. Wednesday, rain and storms are likely with a high of 76. And Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 77. Right now in La Crosse, it's 63, and Racine, it's 62, and in Milwaukee, it's 60 degrees. I'm Nazir Spencer, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 8:32.
Thanks a lot, Nazir. You mentioned protests, and I know yesterday there were a number of No Kings demonstrations in both Milwaukee, I think Shorewood, Greenfield, they all had them.
Yep, absolutely. There was, Milwaukee, Shorewood, Greenfield. I believe there was some in the Waukesha area. I'm not sure if it was Waukesha, but in that area somewhere as well.
But everything was peaceful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yes.
yeah,
Everything was peaceful.
so
no fatalities or anything like that.
Well, certainly we don't want that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Nazir. Yep. And in just a couple minutes, we're going to be talking with noted Minnesota journalist Kathy Wurzer about background regarding the state legislator who was shot in Minnesota yesterday. Such a tragic story. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala, nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ish Nala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ish Nala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ish Nala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ish Nala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ish Nala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Guthrie and Fry. I love Guthrie and Fry. I've got their water softener, the salt delivered right to the basement. Their RO system, which filters the water in our house. What we drink, what we cook with, is crisp, clean, clear. It's Guthrie and Fry water conditionings, the best in the business. They also provide well pump system service, routine service, and emergency service for when you need it. They've been doing that since 1974. At Guthrie and Fry, they know that better water makes a big difference. The teams I trust are at Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning.
Don't miss the largest vacation sale in the nation coming this July. It's Fox World Travel's exclusive July sale with Apple Vacations and Celebrity Cruises. July is the best time of the year for unbeatable deals you won't get anywhere else. Get the hottest cruise deals or plan ahead for 2026 all-inclusive resorts paired with nonstop flights. Let Fox World Travel book your vacation and secure your reservation with just a deposit. Visit foxworldtravel.com/July and get on the exclusive list. Sale starts soon.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Weekend Morning News. I'm Libby Collins. We're talking with Kathy Wurzer, NPR News Morning Edition host in the Twin Cities. And Kathy, this is a developing story. Yesterday morning, of course, we heard very early about the assassination, I don't know what else to call it, of a Minnesota state legislator, another shooting of another one and his wife. What do you know this morning?
Well, I tell you what, Libby, we're still in the midst of a manhunt. This is the second day. We have law enforcement spread out all over the state of Minnesota trying to find the suspect. And we have not heard anything from law enforcement. We expect to have updates here later this morning, but we're still looking for the suspect. In the meantime, as you might imagine, the Capitol here in St. Paul, Minnesota is reeling from the news of yesterday that Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman was, as you say, assassinated. That was the word that officials used yesterday, assassinated in her home along with her husband. And we just heard that Senator John Hoffman, he was shot yesterday morning along with his wife in their home. And their home was not that far away from Speaker Hortman's home in the Twin Cities. We're trying to get word on his condition. He was stable yesterday after coming out of surgery, so we're waiting for news on what's happening with him.
Now, did you know Melissa Hortman personally?
Yeah, I'm a political reporter in addition to being the host of our morning show. So I'm a longtime political reporter. So yes, Speaker, it's just she was actually on my show recently, and it's just such a shock to have heard the news yesterday. Speaker Hortman was one of those people, and you're a journalist, so you understand. She was a straight person. She'd give you a straight answer, as straight as she could. She was such a solid lawmaker. She had really great political acumen and had a real good sense of political strategy. She was very well respected and really ran that chamber well. I mean, she was probably the best. We were talking to someone yesterday. She was probably one of the best speakers of the Minnesota House in state history. She was formidable at times, but she had a really engaging personality. She had a wry sense of humor. And when you talk to her, as I say, as a journalist, she'd give you a mostly straight answer. I mean, she was pretty upfront, which was nice. There wasn't a lot of spin with her.
There was a video of her being quite emotional just on Friday after she had crossed the aisle as the only Democrat to vote with the Republicans on a somewhat controversial bill. Were you surprised at her reaction to all of that? And do you think that possibly there's any connection to the shooting?
I know what you're talking about. Yes, she agreed as part of this overall budget agreement. She was going to keep her word to vote for this. This was a bill extremely controversial. It took up 4 to 5 hours of debate, and it was to strip undocumented immigrants from state-sponsored health care. So as part of the agreement that legislative leaders hammered out, she had to vote yes for that. So did one other lone Democrat in the Minnesota Senate, one of the Senate leaders. So both women were very emotional about their votes. And that was Melissa Hortman. What you saw in that video, that was her. She felt it wasn't right to vote for this measure, but she kept her word. And I think she also knew there was going to be political ramifications to that. Of course, you would never have figured this was going to happen. And I'm not saying that this occurred because of her vote. I think some people are trying to conflate the two. That's not it. I mean, I think there could have been some political ramifications, down the road in the Minnesota House in terms of leadership, but what happened, that horrible thing that happened yesterday, you can't say that was because of her vote.
We're talking with Kathy Wurzer. She is with NPR News Morning Edition host in the Twin Cities. Kathy, the search for the suspect is ongoing. What do you know about that? And what have you heard about this supposed accomplice? They said he may be on the run with another person.
Right. So Vance Belter of Minneapolis, he's also from Green Isle, Minnesota. So he has a residence in Green Isle, which is a small rural area to the north of the Twin Cities. He was also renting a room in a home in Minneapolis. We're trying to figure that out because he had some male roommates that he was rooming with, and we can't quite figure out what the connections are with that. So he is on the run, and at last word, there was a person of interest with him, evidently. We don't know where, of course. We've heard that South Dakota issued a person of interest alert last night. So it's very unclear. And again, we're hoping to get information later here this morning about where they think this manhunt is. So it's in its second day. We know that, and we know he has not yet been arrested. We don't know the person of interest either.
Yeah, we are also getting word that 11 Wisconsin lawmakers, and what they're saying, from sources, is that it may be 8 women and 3 men were also listed in this manifesto. Do you have any information on that from authorities?
We heard that as well. I have not seen the list of all these lawmakers and other elected officials and other individuals associated with evidently clinics that provide abortion, those who support abortion. So I've not seen that list. So we're working to find out more about that.
It is shocking. One last question, Kathy. Did the No Kings protests go on anywhere in Minnesota yesterday? Because I know Governor Walz had asked people not to show up for those.
Yes, actually, it did. And about 25,000 people showed up here in St. Paul at the state capitol in spite of state officials and the governor saying, please don't show up. But they did, and many of them holding signs in honor of Speaker Emerita Hortman. So, yeah, actually, that was a large crowd that showed up in St. Paul. It was peaceful. Nothing happened. Against the backdrop of all that is going on, it was quite a day, as you might imagine.
Well, Kathy, I know you have to get back on the air. Kathy Wurzer, morning show host from Minnesota Public Radio in St. Paul. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's 8:42, 62 degrees at WTMJ. We're going to get up to about 80 later on today. It's going to be a beautiful Father's Day. And speaking of Father's Day, we're going to tell you about an opportunity for dads to get into a great place for free right after this. It's all I had on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
By trading in that old mattress for a new Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hassleus Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. Plus, next day delivery and haul away of the old mattress for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassleus.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Does your home's landscaping feel a little dated? Maybe the shrubs are overgrown or the flower beds have lost their spark. You don't need to start from scratch to make a huge impact. Landworks Wisconsin can breathe new life into your property with a professional garden renovation. The designers will work with you to refresh your plantings, redefine your garden beds, and restore your home's curb appeal. And while they're upgrading, maybe think about permanent holiday lighting. Give your garden the makeover it deserves. Visit the teams I trust at landworkswisconsin.com.
With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
It's 8:45, and if you're looking for something to do for Dad today, we've got Kimberly Graves from the Milwaukee County Zoo. Today is Father's Day, and joining us on our Siding Unlimited talk and text line is Kimberly Graves. She's the communications coordinator for the Milwaukee County Zoo, and it's a big day for dads at the zoo, Kim, because they all get in free.
Yes, we're glad to offer our Father's Day tradition, offering free admission all day, 9:30 to 5, for dads, grandpas, etc., to enjoy a day at the zoo on us.
Dads get in free today, so hopefully they're going to take advantage of that. Kimberly Graves from the Milwaukee County Zoo. It is always wonderful to talk with you.
Yep, thank you.
It's 8:45. Coming up in just 1 minute, it's Mark Horton Sports on WTMJ.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Will interest rates go up or down? We'll know much more June 18th when the Fed announces its next rate decision. Do you wonder how the announcement will impact your decisions, maybe your portfolio? Join Annex Wealth Management's chief economist, Dr. Brian Jacobson, for Instant Insight. 2 p.m. June 18th, Instant Insight is when Annex kind of goes live after important announcements like the Fed announcement to help explain what it means for you and for your money. It's free. Register now at WTMJ.com or events at AnnexWealth.com, June 18th, 2 p.m.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. A battle of the brothers in Milwaukee did not end well for the Brewers yesterday as they lost to the Cardinals 5-8. Jackson Churio stole home in the fourth. Sal Frelick hit a 2 RBI double, but the real story came from 2 home runs in the ninth. One from Wilson Contreras to bring the Cardinals up 4-8, and one in the bottom half from his brother William.
Pitch and a fly ball to deep left. This one is gone if it is fair. It is a fair ball and gone. It's 8-5.
Those were the last points that the Brewers scored in that game. The Brewers and Cardinals meet one more time this afternoon. First pitch is at 1:10. Our coverage starts at noon with Brewers warm-up with Dominic Cotroneo. I'm Mark Wart for WTMJ Sports.
And I'm Libby Collins, and we've got more ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News coming up in just a couple minutes. Sandy Max is going to join us with Sunday What's on Tap. We lost a great one this week. Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, and she's going to take a look back at all of the shows he played here in Wisconsin. And also coming up in, let's see, after 9 o'clock, we're going to be talking with a West Point grad, Army through and through, and he's going to give us his reaction to the parade in Washington yesterday. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
When we're out in your town, come say hi as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be.
You can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
News Radio 620 WTMJ.
The Cane Table from Penny Mustard is more than just a table.
It's hosted countless brunches and long conversations with friends.
It's served as an emergency office on snow days or when the kids come down with the croup.
It's seen its fair share of crumbs between the leaves.
Or drool from the dog waiting for food to drop.
The Cane Table is made for signing important documents.
Holding family meetings.
And painstakingly piecing together puzzles.
It's headquarters for homework.
Craft projects.
Board games.
And the wrapping of various gifts.
The Cane's Encore chairs have been used to relax.
To build blanket forts.
Or to help reach something on the back of the top shelf.
It's not about food.
It's about memories.
So it's gotta last.
It's made in the Midwest. so it will.
For generations to come.
The Kane Dining Room Table with 6 Encore chairs starting at $61.97 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Well, Sandy, hearing that song really, I want to cry because we lost a great one this week, and that is Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, and such an impact he had on music. And plus, he was here in Milwaukee a number of times with the Beach Boys, and of course the Beach Boys then were with him when he wasn't touring, but he's had a real impact on the city as well.
Yeah, and a visionary, kind of like in that Les Paul way, not just musically, but also engineering and sound design. He was layering harmonies in the 60s and experimenting with sound. If you think of Good Vibrations, it's got the surf sound, but then it has almost that sci-fi B-movie, woo, like sounds to it. So he really was combining and creating these sounds. And you talk about the impact in Milwaukee. I was at Milwaukee Night Market on Wednesday when the news was announced by his family that Brian Wilson had passed away. And the first person I met at Milwaukee Night Market, the big block party on Wisconsin Avenue, was a man named Michael who works at Hampton Inn, still in his suit, wanted to stroll around the fest, but he couldn't wait to see me because he knows I'm a big music fan. And he had on his phone, Libby, pictures from the Brian Wilson Pet Sounds anniversary concert at the Riverside Theater about 6 years ago. And he was in the fourth row and was showing me photos, of Brian Wilson on stage and how meaningful it was. So, music brings people together. Here's one person who was like, I know who I can share this with. I was very honored. I was very excited. But right here in Milwaukee, and, the Beach Boys played in Wisconsin so many times. They were at Summerfest. You and I just went through the list just before we came on the air. 8 times at Summerfest since the 70s.
And I was there at one of them. I think maybe it was 2012. It was over 10 years ago.
Give me your concert review.
Where Brian Wilson, the reason we bought the tickets is Brian Wilson was performing with the Beach Boys, and he played the Pet Sounds album there. And it was, I can't even begin to explain the energy that was there. And the fact
audience?
That, and they did it like in 2 parts because the first part of the concert was a lot of their hits and everything. Then Brian Wilson performed Pet Sounds, which is very complicated, as you just said.
It's a magnum opus.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah, and influenced so many musicians.
The Beatles. Paul McCartney says God Only Knows is,
he said it brings
quote, the greatest song ever written, end quote. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Elton John. I mean, there's so many tributes that come out. So, yes, Pet Sounds is so influential.
To see them in person with him.
Yeah.
That was the amazing thing because he was the heart and soul of that band. I mean, I love the Beach Boys and I love when they play all the fun stuff, fun, and Help Me Rhonda and all of that. But when you think of the Beach Boys and how they began and how he was the head of the harmony, he really brought that band together early on in the 60s before anybody even heard of the Beatles.
Sure, and the oldest brother of the Wilson brothers, and then Mike Love being the cousin. So interesting to have this family dynamic in there. And Brian Wilson had a challenging personal life. And even as a kid.
Well, that movie, Love and Mercy. You see it so much.
Yes, so John Cusack's in that film. But even as about a 10-year-old, he's partially deaf in one ear. So kind of Beethoven-ish. It's like he comes up with these masterpieces because he's hearing things differently, don't you think?
Yeah, I think a true musician really does hear things differently, and they constantly hear harmonies in their head, and he certainly was one of them. But my heart, you kind of knew it was coming because they had said that he was suffering from dementia, and he had so many health struggles. And even, I'm sure in 2019, and I saw it in 2012, he got to the stage, but you could see it wasn't that easy for him to get around. But still, when he sat down at the piano, it was just magic. And anybody who saw him in person, I think, felt that same energy.
I feel like the concert reviews that I read, like Piet Levy of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel is a great music fan and concert reviewer, and his review of that 2019 show at the Riverside was honest and said, boy, he was kind of vacant and he would be a little off key or he would forget lyrics, but his absolute presence and the strength of the music that he wrote, especially after performing God Only Knows, got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Because it's music that gives you goosebumps. It's music that gives you those emotions. And truly, he wrote some real masterpieces. So he has left us with a true legacy of, like you said, not just the California summertime sound of Surfin' USA and California Girls, which have that spirit of joy and sunshine, but really those meaningful love songs like God Only Knows.
Yeah. Yeah, and wouldn't it be nice?
But you talk about the influence. We talked about these other contemporaries of his who are paying tribute. Janelle Monáe, the actress and musician,
sure.
Her album, Dirty Computer, she reached out to Brian Wilson to sing on that song.
To collaborate.
Yes. And when you listen to that song, it's called Dirty Computer by Janelle Monáe, you hear his voice as backup, and it's him. It's unmistakable.
Little side note here.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys, they were strongly influenced by a group from the 50s, the Four Freshmen. They duplicated a lot of those harmonies.
It's fun to follow that thread.
Yeah, it really is.
So a great reason to, Libby and I highly recommend streaming Beach Boys music, Brian Wilson music. You'll discover his collaborations.
And there was that documentary from about a year and a half ago.
Right.
That was a good one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Or get
check
out
that
your albums and your CDs and cassettes if you're like me.
Get in the convertible and
there you go.
Put that 8-track on and listen to it. All right, one other thing I want to talk to you about because it is Father's Day. And another favorite of mine, one of my favorite movies, is being re-released in time for Father's Day. And it's really about a father-son dynamic.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Indy and his dad, Don't Call Me Junior.
Sean Connery and Harrison Ford together.
What a great chemistry.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And you get that father-son dynamic that I think a lot of people can certainly identify with.
And what an adventurous storyline. This became the trilogy now, but how do you keep making the Indiana Jones serial story even better?
You can't.
But you add Sean
Yep.
Connery and the Holy Grail. It is a really fun movie. It's screening today and also on Wednesday. Fathom Events is a company that puts these fun themed kind of movies together. And Marcus Theaters, also Kenosha Cinemark, Imagines Geneva Lakes. And so you can watch it or check your local listings if you want to go have popcorn with Pop and watch this father-son movie.
And
what's your very favorite scene?
It was named after the dog.
Exactly. That'll keep you humble.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Yes.
Sandy Max, thank you so much for sharing those memories about the Beach Boys and Brian Wilson.
Turn it up. Thanks, Libby.
It's 8:56, and Sandy's going to be back at 11 with the Summerfest sound check. And guess what? We're going to be giving away a 4-pack of Summerfest tickets next hour, so stick around for that. Also, after the news with Nazir, we have a young man. He's a West Point grad. His dad went to West Point. He's married to somebody who was in the Army. He himself spent a number of years in the Army. His family has a huge connection to the United States Army. And we're going to talk with him about his reaction to the parade in Washington yesterday and also the significance of honoring the Army on their 250th anniversary. That's all I had on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
So I was at a family get-together, and my aunt and I were putting the finishing touches on dinner. And she said, "Honey, could you grab the dressing out of the fridge?" Well, when I opened the refrigerator door, I noticed something. And I said, "Aunt, it looks like a shelf in there is missing. What happened?" And she replied, "Oh, your uncle tipped a wine bottle in there, and one of the glass shelves shattered. And I'm certainly not going to buy a new fridge because of that." And I said, "Well, Aunt, you know my business solves problems like that. Just give me the dimensions of the glass, and we'll have it replaced, and the shelf will be good as new." And she said, "I never thought of that." And that's what made me think of letting you know that if you have any kind of problem with glass, if you come see us, there's a pretty good chance we can solve it. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass in your home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
Those little birds from St. Louis better take shelter. There's a storm brewing in Milwaukee.
Swing and a miss. Paez is gone. 1-0-1 on the fastball from Mizorowski. 5 scoreless in his big league debut.
Our Brewers Radio Network coverage starts today at 12:35. The Brewers take on the Cardinals at AmFam Field. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 9 o'clock at 60 degrees in Milwaukee. Today, partly to mostly cloudy with isolated shower possible far west of the high of 72 near the lake. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Nazir Spencer. A manhunt underway for the suspect in an attack in Minnesota. A state lawmaker and her husband were killed inside their home. Another lawmaker and his wife were shot but survived. ABC's Faith Aubrey is in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota.
Governor Tim Walz calling the deadly shooting politically motivated.
Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota.
Authorities now naming 57-year-old Vance Bolter as the suspect. Investigators say he was dressed as an officer, wearing a vest, a badge, and a taser, and was driving an SUV with police lights.
The search for Vance Belter, a suspected killer of former House Speaker Melissa Hortman, is stretching beyond Minnesota. New questions emerge about where he may have been hiding, who might have seen him last.
We've heard that South Dakota issued a person of interest alert last night. So it's very unclear. And again, we're hoping to get information later here this morning about where they think this manhunt is. So it's in its second day. We know that. And we know he has not yet been arrested.
Kathy Werzer with NPR News Morning Edition host in the Twin Cities spoke with Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News about the speculation of Belter's accomplices.
He was also renting a room in a home in Minneapolis. We're trying to figure that out because he had some male roommates that he was rooming with, and we can't quite figure out what the connections are.
Belter remains at large. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information that helps bring him in. Millions of American customers of 23andMe are at risk of having their genetic data sold to buyers. Wisconsin State Attorney General Josh Call tells WTMJ that he's filing a lawsuit in joint with 27 other states' attorneys general to prevent the sale.
It's not just general personal information. It's much more sensitive information. So we're talking about things like DNA data, health-related traits, potentially indication about what your medical risks may be. And what we are arguing is that that kind of information is too sensitive to be sold without people's express and informed consent.
More than 15 million people have used 23andMe's services. There's a tractor on a farm in Marathon County that can move through the fields with no driver in the seat.
The self-driving tractor is a game changer for Marathon County farmer Michael DeYoung.
I sit back and say, as a farmer, maybe for the first time you can step away and go to your kids' ball game. Or you can go home at night and sit around the dinner table and eat.
DeYoung is just one of 20 farmers across the entire country testing the new self-driving tech from John Deere. Well, it isn't perfect, at least not yet. He believes the autonomous tractor could transform farming.
Since the beginning of time, we've always tried to go bigger, faster. For the first time, I think that we could go the other way. I think that this could promote smaller tractors.
Jessica Tai, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 9:03.
Sponsored by Accunet Mortgage.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing, and because her AccuNet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's your good boy? Oh, who's what?
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things. Like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers fell to the Cardinals Saturday 5-8 in a tough home loss. They'll look to bounce back this afternoon. Brewers warm-up is at noon, while first pitch is at 1:10 p.m. Taking a look at the roads with the WTMJ Time Saver traffic. No major issues, no major delays, and full freeway speeds across the system.
Traffic is sponsored by Richlands Tire and Service Center.
Richlands Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlands.com when you're due for service.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, sunny and cloudy with a high of 74, and tonight a low of 57 with also partly cloudy. Right now in Milwaukee, it's 60 degrees. I'm Nazir Spencer, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 9:06.
This is Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. And now it's time for New at 9.
And there was a military parade yesterday in Washington that celebrated the 250th anniversary of the armed forces. There were over 6,000 soldiers, 150 military vehicles, including 70-ton Abrams tanks and Black Hawk helicopters. And I don't know anybody who is more familiar with that than our next guest. Joining us on our Siding Unlimited talk and text line is a West Point grad. He's a retired United States Army colonel. He was a combat leader in Iraq and I believe in Afghanistan. He's a self-employed entrepreneur with businesses in Milwaukee and Chicagoland. And his family's been in the Army for generations. And joining us is retired U.S. Army Colonel Tom Burrell. And Tom, you come from a long line of Army officers, and it seems like everybody in your family is in the Army at one point.
Yeah, Libby, they have. Appreciate you having me on. Probably started off with my grandfather. He was in the Marine Corps in World War II. Started out in Long Island, New York, and ended up in the desert of California once World War II was over. But then my dad went to West Point. I went to West Point. And then even my son now is continuing to serve.
And you're married to somebody who served in the Army as well.
Correct. My wife and her family have quite a few. My wife is the first one in the Army from that side, though. The rest of them in the Navy. That's why I tend to block that part out.
All right. So as a West Point grad, and by the way, you played football. I think you were a linebacker at West Point. So, I mean, you were really in West Point and that whole camaraderie of what it's like to be a potential leader in the Army. What did you learn from that in those 4 years at West Point?
Well, the biggest thing that I learned was probably just that it's not about you, it's about the team and about team success. And that really comes from individuals that you're working with and them having their own individual success. Like, in order for the team to be good, y'all have to be good at your individual tasks. And learning that trying to get the best out of the other people within your organization is usually the best product for the overall organization. And that's what leads you to success.
And you also were a combat leader in really hostile areas. And the men and women who followed you, what was their commitment to the Army?
Their commitment. I mean, you hear two things. I mean, I and you see it on a couple of different levels. You see the altruism that is still alive and well within the United States, and that's really refreshing to see. That's really kind of what brings people to the military. But then you also get to see what drives them when they're in the military, and that's usually just a love for the person next to them and working through things like that.
Now, I know you were unable to get to Washington yesterday, but I'm sure you watched the parade and the celebration in Washington for the 250th anniversary of the United States Army. How did you feel watching that, and what was the significance to you that there was that celebration?
Well, going into it, I thought it was a great opportunity for, the Army to showcase what it can do and what it is to the rest of the public. And, quite honestly, most people don't get to see the Army. Honestly, it's usually bad things is when people see the Army. So it's a good thing to see them get to see the Army in a positive light. And then watching it, it was really neat to get to see how much enjoyment a lot of the soldiers were having, just being in the parade and everything. I thought that was a neat part of it.
When you watch President Trump give the oath to so many new recruits, how did it make you feel?
That's always just a very, I felt like throughout my career, re-enlistments, you run into those quite a bit. And, I've executed quite a few myself. And it's always a good time to just kind of reflect on what those things mean to an individual personally and how you're living up to the oath that you took. So that's kind of what it's thinking.
250 years of the United States Army. What is it about them that is such a part of our history here in this country?
About the Army?
Yeah. I mean, what is it that makes them so solid that they have been here defending our interests at home and abroad for all those years?
I think it's just been the legacy of selfless service that goes along with being in the Army. That's truly what you see when you serve is you see the best parts of people where they're really putting everyone else in society above them in order to get what's best for society.
We've heard that the last couple of years enlistments were down. It's different now in 2025. I guess they've already reached their quota. But from your experience and your perspective, what is it that young men and women need to know if they're thinking of a military career?
Well, I mean, the military is a great opportunity for anybody. And I think it's a part of our society that's a lot of times undersold. There is a business end of it that is very scary at times, but overall, I have never seen anybody that went into the military and came out worse for it afterwards. So. And
you have a son in the Army right now.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's getting ready to deploy. He's actually in the National Guard, so he's in his mobilization and getting ready to deploy to do his job. So he's enjoying it.
Well, we can't thank you enough for your perspective. Again, retired U.S. Army Colonel Tom Burrell. Tom, I know you're now in the private sector. You're an entrepreneur with business interests in both Wisconsin and in Illinois, and we can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thanks, Libby.
It's 9:12 and 62 degrees on WTMJ. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we've got sports with Mark Hart on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Will interest rates go up or down? We'll know much more June 18th when the Fed announces its next rate decision. Do you wonder how the announcement will impact your decisions, maybe your portfolio? Join Annex Wealth Management's chief economist, Dr. Brian Jacobson, for Instant Insight. 2 p.m. June 18th, Instant Insight is when Annex kind of goes live after important announcements like the Fed announcement to help explain what it means for you and for your money. It's free. Register now at WTMJ.com or events at AnnexWealth.com. June 18th, 2 p.m.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Marilyn.
The staff is fabulous. They feel as much like friends as the people that live there. We go to lunch at the cafe, book talk at 1, team trivia at 2, bags at 3, and then it's dinner time. That's a typical Tuesday. Three Pillars, in one word, happiness. It's a gorgeous campus.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
Well,
I'm asking for a friend.
The best way to remove urine from a mattress is to trade in that old mattress for a new Beautyrest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hassleus Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. And that's on top of our everyday low prices.
Come on, everybody says lowest prices.
Others sell a Sealy Posturepedic Queen Emeryville A mattress for $12.68. Hassleus sells it for $10.34. But through Monday, it's just $7.86. And check out the low prices on Beautyrest and more. Plus, free next day delivery.
What does my friend do with his old soaked mattress?
We haul it away for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassleus.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All sports desk. A battle of the brothers in Milwaukee did not end well for the Brewers yesterday as they lost to the Cardinals with a final score of 8-5. Jackson Chourio stole home in the fourth. Sal Frelick hit a 2 RBI double, but the real story came from 2 home runs in the ninth. One from Wilson Contreras to bring the Cardinals up 8-4, and one in the bottom half from his brother, William.
Pitch and a fly ball to deep left. This one is gone if it is fair. It is a fair ball and gone. It's 8-5.
The Brewers and the Cardinals will meet one more time this afternoon. First pitch is at 1:10. Our coverage starts at noon with Brewers warm-up with Dominic Cotroneo here on WTMJ. I'm Mark Wart for WTMJ Sports.
Boy, I love that battle of the brothers. That was exciting. I'm sorry we lost, but there's always another game, and hopefully today will turn out a lot better. It's 9:15. Your weather today for Father's Day looks absolutely amazing. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a few clouds in the sky, but what the heck? Those temperatures are going to be lovely. If you're near the lake, 72 degrees. And going further inland, we're going to get up to about 80. Then tonight, there's a chance for an isolated shower, maybe in our western areas, with the temperature down to 58. Tomorrow looks partly cloudy. In the evening, a slight chance of a rain or storm. That temperature, again, reaching 80 if you're near the lake, 85 inland. Then on Tuesday, that's where the rain comes in. Hot, warm, humid, 85 for a high. Wednesday looks like it's going to cool down to about 76 with some rain and storms likely. Temperature right now, 62 degrees at WTMJ at 9:16.
It's time to shuffle the deck. And unfortunately for you, a win isn't in the cards.
Smash to center, backing up Michael Harris Jr. Back onto the track, turning, watching it fly. It's up, it's gone! Jackson Chourio.
The Brewers host the Cardinals for a 4-game series. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts today at 12:35. We are the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scavidi for QC Kinetics. Big focus in America today on your health, and you're determined to look beyond pills and steroids and surgery to feel your best, right? I want to talk to the person who's in pain right now, or maybe it's someone you love. I've got chronic elbow pain. Maybe someone you love is dealing with that issue. You've done everything they told you to do. The pain just comes back. You're exhausted, but you don't give up. You want to meet someone who can fix that for you? Let's meet with Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and help restore your damaged tissue. These are well-respected protocols that include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments. QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics has helped tens of thousands of people, so many of them right here in Milwaukee. No masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a good candidate. The consultation is free. Just call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
Adair Floors has the newest flooring styles. Luxury vinyl flooring in plank and tile looks. Or choose from carpeting, hardwood, and porcelain tile. Flooring for every room in your home. Get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin.
The following is a paid presentation. Advice and opinions expressed during the Sunday Sip are solely that of the hosts or guests and not WTMJ Radio or Good Karma Brands Milwaukee, LLC.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday Sip. I am your host, Julia Fellow. So excited to share with you the most special place in Milwaukee to me. Built in the late 1800s, it's where I got married. It's best place at the historic Pabst Brewery. You'll find it at 9th and Juneau, just 3 blocks west of Pfizer Forum, and you can learn more at bestplacemilwaukee.com. I have the owner who preserved it all as our special guest for the Sunday Sip, Jim Hurdle. Jim, welcome.
Thank you, Julia.
We're going to be talking about how you preserved this place, about the tours, about the incredible wedding venues and special events that you can hold, starting with the tour.
Yes, but if people wait till the end of the interview, I'm going to share a special secret from our tour if they wait till the end of this Sunday Sip. And we even have a special offer, so please wait till the end of this interview.
So there's 28 buildings over 7 city blocks. When you first were deciding, should I buy a piece of this land? What should I do with it? Why did you decide to invest?
Well, it's interesting that it's Father's Day because it was really my Marquette MBA program that motivated me to do it. And it was my dad that went to Marquette, my grandfather before him. And to honor them, I went to Marquette and I came out with I had to follow my passion. And I said, my passion beyond beer is historic real estate. So I saw this historic brewery in downtown Milwaukee threatened with demolition. Right. And I thought that would be a travesty to tear down those beautiful old buildings and all that history.
And you saw it was much more than beer. You were looking at the architecture and saving it.
I just said it would be a travesty to see these Cream City brick buildings, a lot of them late 1800s, early 1900s, and there was really nothing functionally wrong with them. They were just using them as recently as the end of 96. So it was like, let's just get these things going again, but it could no longer be a brewery. Mm-hmm. Most of the tanks were gone. A lot of the equipment is gone. We were just adamant about wanting to try and save as many of the buildings as possible.
Yeah, and you decided to take a chance, and it took you, about 2.5 or 3 years before it finally closed?
Yes, I finally talked them into a down payment, and within 6 months, I had to come up with $500,000, another 6 months, $11 million, or I lose my entire down payment. And the day it turned out I had to decide, Pabst sent it the night before and gave me 24 hours to accept. The next day was September 11th. 2001.
Oh, wow.
The World Trade Center's hit as I'm going over to sign the agreement and give them the down payment. And then the second one's hit, and my wife is saying, this is a sign that you should not sign this. And then when I started doing this, she's like, you need to not do this. This is a sign you should not do this. But it just didn't feel right, Julia. On September 11th, to let the terrorists win and back out of our deal. I mean, we were so looking forward to doing this. And then we had worked so hard to get to that point that I just said, I'm not giving in to the terrorists. I'm not giving up this dream. And there's a picture of me holding a tall boy, a Pabst in one hand, while I'm hitting that fax send button with the other. and there's no turning back.
That's amazing. I love that story. That's
It's
incredible.
a true story.
Wow.
And then We Energies, our $5 billion utility, came up with a $500,000 down payment, came up with the $11 million to buy the whole brewery. And eventually, after 3 years, we got our title to our buildings and slowly opened up a little gift shop and then added a little beer. And then Hildegard walked in one day and said, I want to get married here. And I'm like,
Which one was she in? Because there's 3 different spaces. You can
Oh,
have from
she
30
was-
to 300 people.
She was in the same beautiful hall where you got married,
Oh.
Blue Ribbon Hall.
That's my favorite.
And we weren't ready. I'm like, I'd love to have a wedding, but we don't have bathrooms. We don't have a liquor license, but we worked it all out. We got a furnace with propane to heat up the room. We got a caterer for food and liquor. They brought in coach buses with bathrooms, and we had a wedding.
Oh, I see.
And that was our first wedding.
And then you also have 2 other locations. You have the Great Hall. Can you tell me about that?
The Great Hall is even bigger than Blue Ribbon Hall. Blue Ribbon Hall is perfect for about 150. The Great Hall can hold up to 250. For certain events, up to 300 people. It's got Captain Pap's office in the corner, so opulent. And then we brought in a bar from Norway.
It looks so good. It's huge.
Well, it's Norway, Michigan. Norway,
Yes.
up the UP. Blue Ribbon Hall just needed a new oak floor and some new sprinkler heads, and we just brought back what was there. But the Great Hall had been carved into offices and a modern boardroom.
I would never know that.
We ended up just busting it all out, opening it all up. and
High
then
ceilings.
It's got to be 20-foot ceilings with a skylight and just so opulent and ornate.
Go to bestplacemilwaukee.com. Jim, tell me about the tours so people can see it all and take it in.
Well, our tour is not like any other brewery tour. I mean, I've been on hundreds of brewery tours, and it's usually all about how they make the beer and why their beer styles are so great and how they conserve water and recycle aluminum. And it's great. That's wonderful. And then you're just waiting for the end to get your beer. Well, our tour, number one, we give you a beer before the tour even starts. And you can buy more if you want. And then unlike a typical brewery tour, we take a whole minute out of our hour to talk about the brewing process. The rest is all about the history of not only the Pabst Brewery, but the predecessor, the Best Brewery, because it was Jacob Best and his 4 sons that started the original Best Brewery. And then Captain Pabst took over, and it finally became the Pabst Brewery with the slogan, "He who drinks Pabst drinks the best."
It's amazing. And people are so jovial at the end. Can you tell me what you see in the people who take the tour?
We call it the metamorphosis. They come in just looking like, okay, I'm ready for another brewery tour. And then they come out just rowdy as heck, spending money that their spouse is saying, hey, slow down. They're just so excited by the end of the tour. I love seeing them walk in calm and then walking out rowdy.
Me too. It was so fantastic. I love it. So you mentioned the gift shop. And you don't need to have an event or a tour, right, to go to the gift shop?
Right. The gift shop and our tavern is open to the public every day but Wednesday. So people are like, so I don't have to go on a tour. I don't have to be invited to a wedding. I can just come here and have a cup of coffee or a beer or a glass of wine, a Bloody Mary. Yes, we have a full bar. We do weddings.
Oh, I love your gift shop. There's everything from little vintage items that you can't find anywhere else to magnets, hats, everything you can think of.
Yes, they call it like a museum for beer and breweryana, only you can buy the stuff.
What is the one little secret that you wanted to give away at the end of this Father's Day edition of Sunday Sip?
A shout out to my mother, too, because she was the first one to invest and believed in me. So thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother. And thank you, my wife, Karen, for letting me do this, too. It's become much more than a hobby. But the secret is, one of the secrets we give out on the tour, I'm going to share right now, is that Pabst Blue Ribbon beer has never, ever won a blue ribbon.
Why?
Well, they're going to have to come on the tour to find out why. But they never won a blue ribbon. They won a blue ribbon for their Percheron horses, but they never won a blue ribbon for their beer.
Okay, so go to bestplacemilwaukee.com. Please go and take the tour. Just get a taste of what Best Place has to offer.
Oh, and Julia, if they mention your name, Julia Fellow, during the month of June, we're going to give anybody and everybody 50% off our tours.
Okay, mention my name, Julia Fellow. Go there, get 50% off the price of the tour. Head to bestplacemilwaukee.com to learn more. Jim Hurdle of Best Place at the Historic Pabst Brewery, thank you so much.
Thanks, Julia, and thanks for having your wedding at the Best Place.
Oh, it was the best.
It's 9:27, 62 degrees. It's going to be a beautiful Father's Day. Temperatures reaching up around 80 if you're in the outlying areas, maybe the low to mid 70s if you're closer to the lake.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala. nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ishnala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ishnala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Over 60 years in business, with over 60 vehicles out in the field so we can respond ultra quickly to your emergency AC needs. When you call Quality for emergency AC service, you can count on a swift response to get the job done right away. So if the heat's got you to the point where it's just too hot to handle, call Quality and we'll get you the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. When you need commercial or residential plumbing service, you need it now. Call Quality. We have over a 60-year track record of taking care of people. And with over 60 vehicles ready to respond to your needs, we'll be there in a hurry, so you won't have to worry. This is Anthony Zaneski. For commercial or residential plumbing service, call Quality and get the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
We've got Nazir Spencer in the WTMJ Breaking News Center. And Nazir, there was a fatality again last night, another shooting in Milwaukee.
Yes, thank you, Libby. A 25-year-old man is dead after shooting late Saturday night on Milwaukee's north side. Police say it happened around 11:10 p.m. near North 35th and Capitol Drive. The victim died at the scene. The suspects remain unknown and the investigation is ongoing. The manhunt continues for a suspect accused of posing as a police officer and fatally shooting a Democratic state lawmaker in Minnesota. Authorities say 57-year-old Vance Belter killed former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and wounded Senator John Hoffman and his wife in a separate shooting. The FBI is now offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Belter's arrest and conviction. Governor Tim Walz is calling it a politically motivated assassination. Around 200 U.S. Marines have moved into Los Angeles to guard a federal building and personnel following a week of protests over federal immigration raids. This comes as cities across the country brace for a new wave of large-scale demonstrations against President Trump's immigration policies. Some recent protests have led to clashes with police and hundreds of arrests. Taking a look at the roads with the WTMJ Time Saver traffic, there is a burned up car on I-41-94 south at ramp from Drexel Avenue. The right shoulder is blocked due to that fire. It is not causing too much traffic, but if you're going south at the ramp from Drexel Avenue, just be aware there are firefighters there now trying to put out this fire and take care of the situation, with police officers also surrounding that right shoulder. So be mindful of that, and otherwise there are no major issues and no major delays in full freeway speeds across the rest of the system.
Traffic is sponsored by Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Design Exchange is where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, partly to mostly cloudy, isolated shower possible far west with a high of 72 near the lake, 80 inland. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy with a low of 58. Monday, partly cloudy with a slight chance for afternoon and night rainstorms with a high of 80 near the lake and 85 inland. Tuesday, chance of showers with storms, warm and humid with a high of 85. Wednesday, rain and storms are likely with a high of 76. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 77. Right now in Brown Deer, it's 64. In Burlington, it's 70. In Milwaukee, it's 61 degrees. I'm Nazir Spencer, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 8:32.
Thanks
or
a lot.
9:32.
Thanks a lot, Nazir. In just a couple minutes, we're going to be joined by noted Minnesota political reporter Eric Escola about that horrifying shooting that occurred yesterday in Minnesota and also the connection to Wisconsin. It's all ahead on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
Here at Richlands, we offer both comfort service and expert service.
Our comfort service comes with movie theater popcorn, hot gourmet coffee, upfront pricing, on-time scheduling, plus anything else we can do to keep you comfortable.
Put that on top of honest service from the most friendliest, hard-working people you'll ever meet inside a tire and service center. And well, we'd like to believe we're on the right track to meeting your expectations.
But when your check engine light, tire light, or any other light screams, "Service me," well, that means you're due for our other type of service.
Our expert service. Tires, brakes, belts, mufflers, transmissions, and even engine repair.
Come on into Richlands and put our expert service to the test.
And while you're relaxing, enjoy our comfort services too. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
I guess one of the biggest sacrifices that I think we made starting Penny Mustard was personal time.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Yeah, we just lived, ate, and breathed work all the time for years.
Yep.
And moving from a town where I knew a lot of people, I was going to school in Eau Claire and kind of living the college life, to moving to Milwaukee and work all the time where I knew nobody. We didn't know anybody down here.
Yep.
And it took us a long time before we knew a lot of people down here.
Well, we were working so much.
And we're working a lot.
Yeah.
And that's hard, especially when you're in your younger 20s.
Yeah.
That's when you're supposed to be partying.
I do remember, I think I was 31 before I actually stayed out till midnight on New Year's Eve.
Holy cow.
Because New Year's Day is a big day, and you were on the sales floor, and you can't stay out till midnight and do what you got to do the next day. That was like a milestone in my life where I actually stayed out till midnight because I didn't have to be at a store the next day. I was 31 years old already.
That's impressive. And embarrassing.
Well, probably.
See more at pennymustard.com.
Welcome back to the final half hour of Wisconsin Weekend Morning News. I'm Libby Collins. Well, joining us on our Siding Unlimited talk and text line is longtime award-winning political reporter for WCCO Radio in the Twin Cities. He's currently co-host of Public Television's Almanac program. It's Eric Escola. And Eric, as long as you have been in politics in Minnesota, have you ever seen anything as horrifying as what happened to these state representatives yesterday?
Well, nice to be with you, Libby, under sad circumstances. Needless to say, this has kind of shocked the political community and shocked kind of citizens in general that somebody could show up at a residence of an elected official or anybody really at 2 a.m. and get killed by multiple gunshots from a AK-47 style rifle or a pistol. So it's shocked everybody. You know, Minnesotans kind of have this inflated opinion that we're above all this stuff and we're more civilized, and clearly that has to be reexamined. I would want to quickly say to listeners that in the early days of this investigation, you may hear and see a lot of stuff on social media, but I would take all of that with a grain of salt. A lot of the reporting in the early days here and the opinion making will be wrong. So I just kind of, as a consumer, alert to your listeners.
Well, let's talk about exactly where this happened. Now, was this a golf course community?
No, it's within 3 miles of what they call the Edinburgh Golf Course, and there was a lockdown of folks within a 3-mile radius of the golf course that would have included the homes of the lawmakers, and that was only lifted like late yesterday afternoon.
And
because the suspect is still at large.
Yeah, well, and this is what I find fascinating, is the suspect was dressed as a police officer and even had a car that appeared to be an official car?
He had apparently purchased several squad car-looking vehicles in the stated goal of starting his own security firm. And he had experience as a security officer, and so that would, I guess, account for having the tactical gear and the bulletproof vest and a badge that looked like an official police officer badge. And so he had the means to come up with this stuff, I suppose, as a fellow that was involved in the security business.
And from what we know, he just, came to the door and they answered it?
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was the wee hours of the morning, knock on the door, looks like a police officer, opened the door, and the shooting began. again, we don't know all the details of this. The blow by blow, that is part of the investigation, and we won't know that, I suppose, for a while.
Well, from what I understand, is the suspect they think was accompanied by someone else. Are investigators looking for more than one person?
Well, if he's heading to South Dakota, that's been one report, or he's heading to Canada, that's been another report. He left on foot from the scene of the crime, and so unless he carjacked a car, or he wouldn't have gotten very far on foot. So presumably, there's a car waiting for him, or in some way he had something parked somewhere else, or again, who knows? But certainly an accomplice could be part of the picture for sure.
Now, authorities found this manifesto, and on it were a number of names, including several legislators from the state of Wisconsin. What do you know about that, Eric?
Well, apparently 11 Wisconsin lawmakers are named in this manifesto. It turned up yesterday as a subject matter at the Wisconsin Democratic Convention at the Dells, where even some members of the audience were brought for a briefing. Libby, I did a little research this morning, and there have been 150 threats against Wisconsin judges, for instance, since 2023. And you had a very contentious judge race just recently. Was it late last year? And I think that prompted some hate-related violence, threatening type of episodes. So this is getting more and more to the case of being not. I don't want to say it's routine. Obviously, it's shocking in its severity. But Gabby Gifford, a member of Congress, Steve Scalise, a member of Congress. The Michigan governor was under threat to be kidnapped. Reuters has done a survey that says since 2023, there have been 300 incidents of political threats and violence around the country. So we're in that place.
Eric, I know, and by the way, we're talking with Eric Escola, who is a longtime political reporter for WCCO Radio in the Twin Cities. Eric, in the years that you have been a reporter, have you ever seen as much security around elected officials as you're seeing today?
Well, I think everybody on that list and other organizations that are on the so-called manifesto probably will draw some increased protection. But it's very interesting that these happened in homes. These happened in private residences. I'm not sure what it's like in Madison, but in St. Paul, the Minnesota state capitol, there are no metal detectors. And they're building a new state office building across the street from the state capitol in St. Paul. And one of the driving forces for that construction of a brand new building was to improve security for lawmakers. And so this has been a concern way before what happened yesterday.
Now, how familiar are you with both the late caucus leader Melissa Hortman and also Representative Hoffman?
Senator Hoffman, I talked to 10 days ago at the Capitol, and Melissa Hortman has been in the legislature for 20 years, and I've interviewed her, many times.
Were they at all outspoken? I mean, were they people that would have caused an individual to be angry or feel that they need to lash out at either of these individuals?
Well, apparently this suspect has a pretty good knowledge of Minnesota politics. He did have a detailed list, apparently. Again, we haven't seen the list, and again, I caution to take everything with a grain of salt in these early days of finding the suspect and then investigating what happened. But Melissa Hortman was a powerhouse legislator, one of the most effective speakers I would say, in Minnesota political history. Senator John Hoffman was the chair of the Human Services Committee, which each year hears heartbreaking stories of people that need help through human service programs. The money isn't always enough, and so he was a closer. He could actually he can actually close a deal and make a compromise. So they're both very powerful and very effective state lawmakers for sure.
Oh, what a loss to the state of Minnesota. Well, hopefully they are going to find the suspect very soon. I'm sure that they're also being associated. I would imagine that the FBI and other government agencies are also involved in the investigation now?
Hundreds of law enforcement officers are said to be combing the upper Midwest and trying to find this fella, and we'll see.
Eric, I can't thank you enough for joining us. Again, political reporter. You've won a number of awards for the work that you've done in the Twin Cities. You now co-host Public Television's Almanac program, Eric Escola. Thanks so much for joining us today.
You're too kind. Thanks, Libby. All the best to you and yours.
Thank you, sir. It is 9:43, 62 degrees on WTMJ.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano talking with Dr. Mike Nolte at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Doc, a lot of people are hesitant to visit a surgeon for spine care.
The good news is that the vast majority of patients that I see and the majority of conditions that I can see can be successfully treated without surgery. And I don't want patients to think that just because you're seeing a spine surgeon means that you're going to be signing up for surgery. We talk about in my clinic kind of a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. orthowisconsin.com.
We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. I say this because that's a pretty big number. But at Century 21 Benefit Realty, it's really not about being a top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission and no more than $19,000 commission, for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. WTMJ's Greg Matzik here. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geis today. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Well, on this Father's Day Sunday, a lot of people are also thinking about what's going to happen on Thursday, and that's the opening of Summerfest. And a little bit later on this morning at 11 o'clock, Sandy Max is going to be doing that Summerfest sound check, but she also talked with Milwaukee World Festival's president and CEO, Sarah Pancari, as well as Vice President Sales Development, Kevin Kennedy. And they talked a little bit about their music picks, headliners, and new experiences. And here's Kevin with something to look forward to.
Stomp Out Hunger is our opening day admission promotion in partnership with Bush's, and it's a legacy promotion for us, but basically you get in free if you bring in 3 non-perishable food items.
And they've also got more to talk about.
We have a dedicated stage that's got family programming all day. First stage, which will do performances. We have a DJ dance party that kids love. TMJ4 brings their weather show, which is always really popular. There's face painting and henna artists. And
you build a teddy bear?
Yes.
Not yet.
Yes.
And you can hear Sandy Max this morning at 11 with the Summerfest sound check. She's got so much more to tell you about what to look forward to over the next 3 weekends. And guess what? We have a 4-pack of tickets for somebody. If you call the Siding Unlimited talk and text line right now at 855-616-1620, we will give a pack of 4 tickets to Summerfest to the 8th caller. So those lines are open right now, 855-616-1620. Give us a call, and if you're caller number 8, you're winning that 4-pack of Summerfest tickets. It's 9:47 on WTMJ. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we've got more court and sports on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News.
When you come to our showroom, you'll find more than a dozen glass shower door displays. Now that's what you're going to want to see, because browsing a bunch of options usually spurs ideas that you've never even thought of. And when you walk around with one of our glass shower door experts, you can ask questions and get assurance. We're here to help. And after nearly 50 years in the glass shower door business, there's not a whole lot we haven't seen. So don't worry, your project's about to be put in the very best of hands. At Les's Glass Service, you can count on our experience that makes it easy to promise top-flight installation. Glass shower doors are our specialty, and we're out there humping it every day to add to our portfolio to make the next project even better than the last. This is Stacy Sinks. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Hey, it's Vince Vitrano from Wisconsin's Morning News. It's baseball season, which means Brewers 360 is back every day at 8:40. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Every day, all season long, we're joined exclusively by Brewers guests, including manager Pat Murphy and more. So Murphy, as we're wrapping up our interview.
Great talking. We really enjoyed it, okay?
I was like, you did? Is he just in a good mood, or what'd y'all do to Murph?
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Well, yesterday was not a good one for the Brewers. They lost it. It was an 8-5 loss for the team. They're going to try it again today, and I believe our coverage gets underway at 12:35 right here on WTMJ. Want to let you know, we have a winner. We have a winner for that 4-pack of tickets to Summerfest. So try it again tomorrow. I know tomorrow on Wisconsin Weekend Morning News, Vince and Eric we'll have more tickets to give away. So keep it right here on WTMJ for all that Summerfest news and those free tickets. And Sandy Max at 11 this morning with the Summerfest Sound Check.
Hey, it's Vince Vitrano from Wisconsin's Morning News. It's baseball season, which means Brewers 360 is back every day at 8:40. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Every day, all season long, we're joined exclusively by Brewers guests, including manager Pat Murphy and more. So Murphy, as we're wrapping up our interview.
Great talking. We really enjoyed it, okay?
I was like, you did? Is he just in a good mood, or what'd y'all do to Murph?
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
It's Debbie Lazaga, and I'm so excited because Kohler Services just transformed my old bathtub into a beautiful new Luckstone shower. Kohler Services made it so easy. They came to my home and helped me design my custom shower, and they hauled away my old tub. Stephen, Luke, and Will were focused and professional installers. I'd recommend them to anyone. This June, receive a free shower door with the purchase of a Kohler Luckstone shower, plus no interest for 12 months. You can request your free quote for a custom Kohler Luckstone shower by visiting KohlerServicesWI.com. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
By trading in that old mattress for a new Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hassleus Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. Plus, next day delivery and haul away of the old mattress for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassleus.com.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Will interest rates go up or down? We'll know much more June 18th when the Fed announces its next rate decision. Do you wonder how the announcement will impact your decisions, maybe your portfolio? Join Annex Wealth Management's chief economist, Dr. Brian Jacobson, for Instant Insight. 2 p.m. June 18th, Instant Insight is when Annex kind of goes live after important announcements like the Fed announcement to help explain what it means for you and for your money. It's free. Register now at WTMJ.com or events at AnnexWealth.com, June 18th, 2 p.m.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKT.
Siding Unlimited talk and text line is Gregory Randolph. He is the vice president of DECT, and they have a great campaign they're working on called Dad Time Off, where 100 fathers are going to get a day off paid by DECT. Hey, Greg, this is a great campaign. First of all, tell us all about it and why you decided to start with this initiative.
Absolutely. So DECT makes truck bed storage and organization products for work, for tools and other gear. So we have a lot of customers that are blue-collar, hardworking American men and women. And we recognize through some research that we've done that, 65% of dads out there have missed an important life event with their children because of work. Another 40% said that they felt like there was a lot of financial pressure that was stressful for them to take a day off of work to spend with their kids or their family. And so we wanted to do something about that. And we came with this idea to do dad time off, which is really a version of paid time off, so DTO and PTO. Through this campaign, we're asking people to go and nominate significant dad or father figure in their life, or even themselves if they're a dad. And they can do that on our website at DECKED.com. And we will select 100 dads to get a full day's wages paid by DECT so they can take a day off and spend with their families.
Now, do you have to write an essay or anything like that to nominate your dad? How are you determining the winners?
No, I don't think you have to write an essay, but we do ask you to give us a few bits of information so we can get in contact with the winners. And then there's a nomination form, and we just want you to tell us why your dad or yourself or another dad in your life deserves a day off. So it's really up to the people, and I can tell you right now that all the submissions we've received just kind of bring a tear to your eye. It's a very heartfelt, sweet sentiment out there, and we're just looking for the best stories.
Tell us about one of them.
It's everything from the dad who's always there, who's not afraid to get up early in the morning and help the kids learn how to feed the chickens and slop the hogs, to a stepdad who, was always there for his daughters throughout her life and helped her fix her car and do all the other things that her biological father couldn't do. Dads are important, and you kind of see what dads mean to everyone and what they do. And this isn't just about the dads, like moms work really hard too, and giving a dad a day off paid to spend with the family is healthy for the whole group.
We're talking with Gregory Randolph from DECT, and they've got an initiative called Dad Time Off where you can nominate your dad to win a paid day off. You had mentioned blue-collar workers. Do they get a lot of support from their employers when they want time off, or is it one of those things that, look, buddy, you don't work, you don't get paid?
The blue-collar worker in this country are so important, and they're really the people that get up early to keep the country running on time. And, a lot of times those are wage earners, so they're not clocked in, they're not getting paid. And I think it's really important that we also draw, awareness and attention to something, which is really, in its essence, like the nuclear family is really important to our society and our culture, and a lot of times some of the most important people don't have the time to spend with their families. And as an organization, DECT is very focused on keeping family first. And we know if our employees take good care of their families, that they'll be stable and happy and confident, and things are well taken care of in their life, and they're better workers. So we really want to encourage employers out there to allow their workers, when it's necessary, to take a day off to be with their family and be there for life's moments.
Okay, I'm wondering, with the winners, because I would assume, especially if you're talking about blue-collar hourly workers, there's going to be different wages for an 8-hour day. How are you determining how much to give each winner?
Well, we didn't really want to think about it too much, so what we did was said, we're going to give 100 dads $500 for a day's wages, which equates to about $60-$70 an hour. We figure that probably covers the range, and it should allow that father to, not feel any stress about taking a day off with his family.
Well, it's a great thing that you're doing with your company, DECT. And Greg, tell us again, Dad Time Off, if you want to nominate your father, how do you submit that nomination?
Just go to DECKED, DECKED.com/DTO, so Dad Time Off. Or if you just go to DECKED.com, there's a link on our homepage, and it'll take you to that nomination form.
And what's the cutoff time? When do we have to have those nominations in?
We are giving people plenty of time to get that last-minute Father's Day card they forgot, or that tie that they regret buying. We're going to keep the campaign open until June 27th.
Fantastic. Greg Randolph, thank you so much for telling us about Dad Time Off. Hopefully you're going to get a lot of nominations from our listeners.
Right on. Thanks a bunch for having us on, Libby. Appreciate it.
And a happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Well, I want to salute our producer, Isaac Marcourt, today. You were very busy, did a great job. You had a lot going on and a lot of live calls this morning. So thank you,
Libby.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to Peggy from New Berlin.
Yes.
She won those tickets. And if you didn't get through this time, don't worry. Tomorrow morning with Eric and Vince on Wisconsin Morning News, you're going to have another opportunity to win tickets to Summerfest beginning this week. Right after the news, by the way, thanks for joining us today. Right after the news, it's Adam Roberts with Reporter's Notebook. Then at 11, it's going to be Sandy Mack. She's got that Summerfest sound check. And boy, you were just going to be so excited when you hear about all the bands and all the things to eat and all the fun times that are going to be starting and getting underway at the lakefront on Thursday. And then Brewers warm up with Dominic Cotroneo is at noon. I'm Libby Collins. Thanks for joining us today. And to all the dads out there, congratulations to you and happy Father's Day.
Hey, John Mercure here. I am so done with those tangled holiday lights. That's why I'm super